Dear student, this is Professor Shailesh Devidar Janbandhu, Department of BCom Computer Application, GS College of Commerce, Wardha. Today's topic is Fundamental of Computers, or subject of our Fundamental of Computers, and the topic is magnetic tape. Before that, we discuss about the different types of magnetic disk, particularly magnetic disk, floppy disk, hard disk. Now today we discuss about the magnetic tape. After hard disk, the magnetic tape is introduced in 1928. After that, if we discuss about that, all the things are on core of magnetic. In magnetic tape also, the iron oxide tape will be used, or ribbon is used, whose ribbon is called as a plastic ribbon, which width is 0.5 to 0.25. Just like you will see about the old tapes or video tapes, that are the magnetic tape on which the data will be stored on both sides. The width of musical tape is 0.25 centimeter, or the video tape has the maximum width of 0.5. As well as the length of that tape is near about 50 feet to 2400 feet. In this way, the data will be stored on that tape according to bits and storage bits. The starting point of that tape is called as a marker. Before that, when we see that tape, there are some red color stripes on the tape. That stripe says that the tape will be, or the data will be recorded on the particular item, and that item or that spot is called as a marker spot, and that indicate that the beginning of the tape. Same way, at the end of the tape there is also a marker, and that is called as a end of the tape. The disadvantage of magnetic tape is the large amount of data will be stored on it. The data will be stored in sequential manner. The data will be stored one another after. Just like in musical tape or music tape, the data will be stored on sequence. First, the first song will be stored. After some gap, second song will be added. Same way, the data also be stored into sequential order from starting to end. Means each and every data will be stored in a sequential manner. When we access that data, we should access sequentially. If we want to play a third number or fourth number, we should forward the first and second song for that, because the data will be stored in a sequential manner. So we cannot access directly that particular data item. We should forward or reverse the tape for accessing a specific song or specific item or data which is stored on the magnetic tape. Tape reels and cartridges are connected to with lightweight, and they require less space to store. These are the advantages. Means data will be stored onto the tape, and that tape can be carried everywhere or with us, or we can store it into a small space of area. Data access speed of that particular magnetic tape is depending on much lower than the direct access. Means the magnetic disk or the floppy disk or hard disk has a much larger accession power than the magnetic tape, because the data will be stored in sequential order. In direct access method, in RAM, in ROM, in hard disks, in floppy disks, they are direct access method. They have the direct access method, and data will be retrieved anytime. But when we use the magnetic tape, that time the data will be stored on a sequence. Therefore, the accession time of that particular data will be larger than direct access method. They have some disadvantage also. Just like it has sequential storage, just like we discussed about that, every data will be stored in a sequential order, so the data cannot be accessed directly. Second one, due to their sequential access nature, they cannot be suitable for storage data that are access randomly. We cannot access randomly because the data will be stored in a sequential order. That type of small disadvantage we have in a magnetic tape. Next method is optical storage devices. Means after magnetic disc, magnetic tapes, these are the old one. The newer one version on which we can store the data is called as a optical storage system, in which we can store the data randomly. Data will be stored according to pits, tracks, concentric circles, and so on. The data will always be stored on the sector and tracks. If we consider the magnetic disc has the concentric circle or data stored in a concentric circle, the data will be stored on a different tracks and sector. This will be in a magnetic disc. Therefore, the data will be stored on a particular sector, on a particular track. The location of that data will be accessed randomly by default. But when we use the optical storage system, it is also random access or direct access method. But the data will be stored in a circular motion. So much larger data will be stored on optical disc. The data will be always in a circular motion type or a circle wise data will be stored. So the data will be accessed from the disc or the compact disc or optical disc directly. So the capacity of optical disc is much larger than the magnetic disc, because the data will be stored not on a sector, not on a track, but it is stored on a circular motion. So each and every data will be stored on a circular motion. Just like music, when we play a song, it will automatically transfer from one song to another one. So data or songs or visuals can be stored on the optical disc. In optical disc, we have some types. That is, first one is compact disc. It is called CD. The most commonly used to store the music or visuals or videos. That disc can be stored data also. We can normally store it on the compact disc. Okay. So the first type of compact disc is CD-ROM. CD-ROM, just like we discussed the ROM, read only memory. Same way, CD-ROM means compact disc, read only memory. This type of CD or compact disc cannot be written, or we cannot store the data on it. It will be always in a read only memory. Just like our applications or softwares, the use of that particular CD is called as a read only memory. We cannot make any changes in that CD, or the user cannot modify the data which is stored on the CD. Second one is WOM. Write once, read many. In market, we have this type of CD or compact disc. WOM. Write once. When we write or burn a CD, that time the data will be mounted on a bitwise or a bits on a bits. The data will be stored on the disk. That data cannot be erased by the user once we write on that. Means once write, we cannot make the changes or modify. Therefore, it is called as a read once. Means we can burn once but never be write, or we cannot write again and again. We read that particular data again and again. Whenever or what type of data we need, we can access. But data should be on that particular CD. Third one is CD-RW. Compact disc read or write. Means read many, write many. Means we can erase the data on the compact disc by using the burner or particular drive. That can erase the data and again we can write the data. It is more expensive than the one. Or write once, read many CD. This one is more expensive than the one CD because it can be used many times. It can be used many times. The data will be stored, erased, stored and erased. Just like our pen drive or our hard disk. The data will be stored on it permanently, and when we want to erase it or delete it, we can delete it. Same work can be done in the CD-RW. Next one is called DVD. Digital versatile disk or digital video disk. It is only to store the data permanently in the form of visualization or particular videos, because the storage capacity of that particular disk is very higher than the CD-ROM, CD drive, or we can say that the tape, magnetic tape. The data will be stored on a much larger. We have some advantages and disadvantages also of the optical storage system. Just like in first advantage, the optical disk data is stored very low cost because the enormous storage density. When we use compact disk, that time different type of storage capacity disk will be available. In DVD we have 7 times larger data, or we can store the 7 times larger data than the compact disk. Its normal size of DVD is 4.7 GB. 4.7 GB than particular CD drive. Just like in CD drive, we can 700 MB can be stored. That can be increases in DVD, that is 4.7 GB of data will be stored into it. Next one is solid state storage, that is pen drive or flash drive. Most of the person or most of the systems now use the external storage devices, and that external storage device and most popular external storage device, that is SSD system or storage devices. And first storage device or SSD storage device is pen drive, where the data can be stored from 1 GB to 128 GB. Or versatile, or the storage capacity of pen drive can from 1 GB to 128 GB. The data will be stored into that particular flash drive or pen drive. It is available in most of the different shapes and sizes. We can store the data, we can erase the data, or we can store permanently the data on the pen drive. Same way we can store the data in flash drive card also, or memory card. Just like in our mobile we have a memory chip. That chip is called as a flash memory card. That chip has the content as same as a pen drive. We can store the data, we can access the data, we can directly manipulate that data, modify the data. Means the restriction of compact disk is like CD-ROM or CD-ROM, that write once, read many. That type of restriction cannot have in the pen drive and memory card. The data will be stored, retrieve, delete, modify, any type of work can be done. It is a non-volatile memory system, means once the data is stored into a pen drive or flash drive or memory card, it will contain many years, or it will available for you anytime and anywhere. Most portable system or devices from store the data from one computer to another, transfer the data from one computer to another computer. It is used pen drive or memory card. Most of the cameras, mobile phone, iPads uses the memory card to store the data or to increase the storage capacity of our devices. We use the memory card or a flash drive, that is called pen drive, and both are the SSD, solid state devices, in which we can store the data. Next one is storage evaluation criteria. Storage evaluation criteria means when we use the magnetic devices, optical devices, or any SSD card, that time we should note that or which type of memory system or storage system we should use depending on these criteria. Just like number one, storage capacity. When we use external devices or storage system, that time we should identify how many of data or how much of data we should store into that particular device. It can use or it can store the capacity or store the data or the particular information, and how much of data can be stored into one unit can be identified. So the capacity of a particular device is much larger than any other system. Then access time. Access time means accession, direct accession or sequential accession. When we want the data when we want to retrieve the data from storage unit, its accession time should be less. Just like RAM, ROM, hard disk has the less accession time rather than external devices just like pen drive, flash drive, or CD drive. These are compact disks. These have the more accession time. So required time to access the data, to manipulate or modify the data, that time is called as a access time. Next one, cost per bit of storage. Means every type of storage system has depend on the cost. Just like the cost of per bit storing into RAM is much larger or higher than any other. Therefore, the price or most expensive storage system is or storage device is RAM, because its storing cost is much higher than the other system. Therefore, the cost of per bit, storing a per bit into a storage unit is most important, and the cost per bit of storage is much larger of RAM rather than other storage devices. Next one, volatile. Volatile means when the computer system is turned off, all the data will be erased from the computer system. It's called as a volatile memory. When the data is retained into a memory, when the power system is switched off or interrupted, that type of memory is called as a non-volatile. Non-volatile. So depending on the use of data, we should use volatile memory or non-volatile memory. Just like RAM is a volatile memory. RAM is a volatile memory because when the computer system is turned off, it is automatically erase all the data which is available in the RAM. But hard disk, floppy disk, all SSD, then optical storage system, all are the non-volatile memory type. When we data stored in these devices, the data will store permanently, but the RAM is a volatile because the RAM cannot hold the data permanently. It is a volatile memory. And last one, random access, means any data can be stored on a particular location and it can be accessible by the system. Just like RAM is a random access system, the name of the itself called as a RAM, means random access memory. The data will be stored into the RAM and it can be accessible anywhere or anytime from any location. But when we use the tape, it is a sequential access method. When we use the magnetic tape, the data will be stored on a sequential order. So the magnetic tape is a sequential access method, uses the sequential access method, but the RAM uses the random access method or memory. Okay, so in this lecture we discuss about the magnetic tape, introduced in 1928, optical storage system, newly introduced after the magnetic storage devices. In optical storage device system we have compact disc that has three types: CD-ROM, WORM and CD-RW. Next one is DVD, digital versatile disk, means any type of data can be stored on it, and it has the maximum size 4.7 GB. After that we discuss about the SSD, that is called solid state devices. In solid state device we discuss the pen drive. It is in different shape and size, and its capacity is 1 GB to 128 GB, same as the memory card or flash memory card, which is used in a digital camera, laptop or any devices where we can store the data. Then when we want to use this system, we have some evaluation criteria, which type of data we should be, or which type of devices we should be used. On that we have criteria number 1, storage capacity, access time, cost per bit of storage, volatile and random access method. Okay, thank you.